Limit me to an hour.
All right, good.
5 minutes. Okay, you said we're good. Okay, good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, April the 7th. First thing we need to do is swear in anybody who's going to testify.
Okay, all of you who are going to be testifying, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will give before the Johnson County Drainage Board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Next up is the approval of last meeting's minutes.
Move to approve, sir.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Greg, you're up.
Good evening. For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. You have in your packet a copy of the balance sheet and the monthly expense for March. I've got a sheet also in your packet that kind of highlights what my report is. So if you guys have something you need me to stop or slow down or just yell at me.
So I just got one question on some of these claims for funding.
Okay.
So I see a bunch of engineering consulting firms on here, so the next one should be more construction costs instead of engineering and consulting firms.
If you ask the guy on your left,
That's
he'll
why I
walk
just
you
hit it.
through that.
That's why I just hit him. It goes to all the consultants, huh? I'm just saying. So the next will be construction firms or people we'll see on this.
Sounds good.
No, it isn't gonna be. I didn't say it sounds good.
Eventually, that's what happens.
So you got me wired up in there, so I'm ready to go tonight. Eventually. I like that eventually. He never answers.
No, he doesn't.
Does he?
He's a master of default.
Okay, so I'll keep an eye on it for you if you don't, so.
You just talk about this on the pad.
Next on my report, spray bids for 26-27. If you remember, we did 3: traditional, alternative, and drone. At our March meeting, we opened the bids. For the regular legal drain spray bids, Attorney Roger Young stated that participants submitted all bids in proper with legal forms. Kevin Wall stated that the bids would be reviewed by the county surveyor and staff, then returned to the meeting April 7th for the surveyor's recommendation and final approval, subject to contract. So I'm going to take them one at a time. The first, traditional. We had 2 bids: Choice Lawn Care at $3.90 per gallon and Dalton at $3.59 per gallon. For the traditional packet, surveyor recommends the contract be awarded to Dalton. If you want to.
Do we make a motion for this? Okay,
Yeah.
for each one of these. Okay,
Yeah, and I'll take them one at a time.
okay.
I'd make a motion to approve Dalton.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Packet B, the alternative, and the difference between the traditional and the alternative were harder to reach areas. Best way to explain it. We had 2 bids received: Choice Lawn Care at $4.35 per gallon, NASB at $4 per gallon. For the alternative packet, surveyor recommends the contract be awarded to NASB.
Okay, I would recommend NASB be approved for the alternative spray.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Packet C, drone. We received no bids for this packet. And so what I would like to do is that we did not receive packets. Surveyor recommends awarding the drone packet to Choice Lawn Care on a ditch by ditch basis. The entire project would be not to exceed 15,000 if they did them all. I think that's small enough. I don't have to.
That's
Just to-
correct. Well, both, there are two reasons. One is you got no bids. So it really wouldn't matter how much it was. You'd be free to go
Under 50.
find someone. Second reason is it's less than 25,000. It did not need to be bid at all. However, it's good that you did because the subject of all three bids was spraying, okay? And State Board of Accounts might have very well said, if you pulled out one of the components, you are artificially dividing up the project into smaller pieces to avoid the public bidding laws, okay? And that's a no-no, obviously. So it's good that you did it the way you did. But now since you have no bid, you can just hire somebody, employ someone to do it. With board approval.
So, yeah, so we haven't worked with Choice yet, but they were the other bidder in all this, so we're gonna give them a shot, see how it works out. And I won't need a motion on that.
I assume they have a drone.
But what we're going to do is allow them both drone and non-conventional or conventional application. We're still working out a lot of details on those drones, where they can go, what they can do, size, all that stuff. So hopefully, as we move down the road, we'll fine tune that better.
We'll just approve it, the contractor, not necessarily how many, but he said up to 15,000. That doesn't matter to us, right? That's.
It doesn't. I just want to make sure that they are capable of doing what they say they're gonna do.
Did they submit references?
All three, I assume will do with the contract.
Yeah.
Did you prepare those contracts last time?
I did,
So,
well, sort of. I mean, I use the county form, but I make sure it's appropriate for the work you're contracting for.
so we'll enter a contract with all three, even that C.
What do you think about? Where are we? They've done this?
Back to my original question, do they have a drone? You hadn't answered the question.
No.
I just don't want to. The way I'm seeing it, you got three bidders, each one's got a portion of this contract. If the one doesn't have a drone, are we paying for that drone? In this first round that he's gonna do for 15,000, you're gonna buy a $10,000 drone and spend $5,000 to spray? I guess I just want to make sure that we got references that he can do, or is it just.
There's gonna be areas where they cannot.
But then.
Just through the process, we know there are areas that we thought we could use a drone, but we're not going to be able to.
Trees or obstructions.
I think his point is, what if he says, well, I did 2 ditches and it was 15,000?
Yeah,
You should have
it's a
10 ditches done for 15,000.
It's a ditch by ditch basis. So from him, we will receive a quote.
Just to make
each
sure we're
one.
not getting in too deep in Rogers weeds, wouldn't that be under the alternative spray by NASB?
No, I haven't looked at the specs.
Each packet had a list of ditches that they put into their bid. Specific ditches.
Oh, somebody else can take a stab at it if you want to.
Is there a certain area
It's not.
of certain ditches that you have to have done by drone?
No.
Or is it done by the non-alternative?
It's something that we're trying to introduce.
Okay.
I think it's going to be something that will be a lot easier in the future. We just have to figure out how to do it. and get it done. In farming, they use a lot of drones for, and, it's a lot different, we're finding, than it is the specific area along a ditch.
Okay.
The biggest difference is where a drone only puts on like 2 gallons per acre, you know,
Equipment, man.
for an orange sprayer's like 20 gallons or
Believe they.
40 gallons. They claim they get the same coverage.
We're gonna find out.
Cause they can't be spraying farmers' crops along the ditch.
Sounds like the can if I'm spraying 2 gallons per minute, he wants more. Of
course.
Not necessarily use it.
Now, there you go.
Sense to do a ditch by ditch.
Probably a total vegetation
No
killer.
sense to bring one contractor in to do half a ditch and then have to bring another one in to do the other.
Right.
I can see why it's.
Are you ready for my watershed?
Other than just the cheapest.
Now, we haven't made a motion on the last one on Troy side.
Kevin was asking.
I don't need one.
Drones.
Oh, you can just do
That
it.
equipment
Yeah.
should be listed,
Rock on.
if that's what they.
Yes, Greg said they're not gonna be using it. Absolutely. What are they?
Watershed map adjustment. Surveyor would like to make an adjustment to the PR Griffith and Hurricane Griffith watersheds. These two watersheds are located along the east side, southeast side of the city of Greenwood. As you know, each watershed can contain sub watersheds. The PR Griffith does have two. It has the Wilson Urban and the Clara Heck, which is now designated as urban. The Clara Heck, and you guys have a sheet in front of you. This is the PR Griffith, and then this is the Hurricane Griffith, and they both connect. This little area right in here is where they come together. The Clara Heck is this purple. And it's a sub watershed then of the PR Griffith. Basically what I'm wanting to do is move it from the PR Griffith and have it become part of the Hurricane Griffith. And the basic reason for that is that this week we've met with developers for the southeast corner of Worthville Road and I-65. The best way to take that drainage is north to the Clara Heck and then onto the Hurricane Ditch. What we want to do is align it to the area that it's going to serve and bring them together as one. And that's basically the reason for it. The Clara Heck, we have started our study because we declared it in February to be urban. That triggers that the surveyor has to do a study. And we're in the process of doing that study. And then we'll be working with this developer as this comes online. Their development is only about 60 acres. But we feel that once they develop that, this whole area of about 500 acres is ready to pop. And it's going to come north to the Clara Heck. So we want to marry them together, basically. There is the only thing about this is that there is a difference in their current assessments. But it is mainly agricultural, and there is one residence within that Clara Heck. The both drains are up for reassessment in 2028. So with assessments for 27 almost in the mail, they go out first of next month. There would be no change until they are reassessed. We'll do that reassessment in, I'll probably be before you in January or February to get a date. So then by the time the next reassessment comes along, they'll be in line. I believe it's within the authority of the board to have different assessments within one watershed.
It is.
And since you can't really change it until 28 anyway, it's kind of a moot point.
Yeah, I think but the way you get to different assessments is you're looking at the kind of drainage you're receiving. In other words, you can't. If you're calculating drainage based upon one type of development doing one thing, all those assessments need to be uniform. But if you have one piece of ground that is doing something different than another piece of ground and adding a different quantity of water than the other piece of ground would be adding, if I'm making any sense,
You are,
then that justifies you assessing that piece of ground differently. But if it's the same piece of ground draining the same way, adding the same quantity of water per acre, then that assessment would need to be uniform. Is that making sense?
it does.
Yeah. And I
And
think what I heard you say is that's the case, is these developments are going to change the amount, volume, flow, whatever, and make it different than the other agricultural line.
yeah, it's all agricultural today. But there is an application with the city of Greenwood this month and it becomes commercial. Um. Is there anything that I can answer you guys might have on that? Make sense?
Yep.
Surveyor would recommend that we move the Clarahack subwatershed to the from the PR Griffith to the Hurricane Griffith watershed, maintaining its current rate of assessment for the remainder of 27.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Rolling right along. Wanted to update you that we are currently working on 2 phase 4 studies. If you remember back when we started our trek down the updating. Phase 4 is where we took the entire watershed or drain within that watershed and did a study on that. We're at the point where they are doing the modeling for Lee Park and Brewer drains. I expect that probably late fall, spring, we'll get those reports back. We are also working on some phase 5, which is a little bit closer to that construction. We've got Lee Park next to the airport. We're working with the developer in that area as they do some development. We're trying to also work on that ditch so that kind of works at the same time. In the same frame of mind, Brewer Drain along the high school. The town of Whiteland are working on a sewer line that would be between the high school and Brewer. So what we're gonna do is try and work with them through that process, and perhaps we can get both done at the same time. And then the last is something that's gonna make the paper tomorrow, and that is Franklin College. They have received their zoning for their park, business park, and right through that business park is the Ragsdale Drain. So as they move forward, we're gonna try and get caught up so that we're working with them as they develop that as well. That's our phase 5s. Next one. Said I was limited to an hour.
And you're 55 minutes in. Huh. Maybe we can use the Hubble telescope to read this.
This is just to give you an idea. Before you is
11 by 17 next time, please. Beth, so we can read it.
before you is just kind of to give you an idea of an area that we're working at. And that is Canary Ditch, south, Pawhan Road, along the west side of Graham. And it's only a short 1,000 foot section, give or take, from the bridge going south. We've been working on this a couple years. We've revised the plans. We kind of decreased the amount of that two-stage that we had planned to make it a little more economical. And we have finished our revision on our plans. As we move forward with this, we're probably looking at a fall bidding. Commissioner Walls and I met with the city of Franklin on Graham Road because it's happening at the same time. They had proposed reconstruction between their two roundabouts in the same area. When we met with them, they were going to shift the road east and out of our easement. As you're coming further south on Graham, the road is the top of our bank right there. Gets really close. The guardrail's kind of leaning into the ditch. They have given us plans and they are being reviewed currently, but they didn't move the road that much. So it will be still in the easement. And we'll, like I said, we've got those plans, we're reviewing them, and we'll probably bring those to you next month. Youngs Creek Watershed. We started talking about Youngs Creek last year. This is where we had a lot of development in Bargersville. We had some remonstrators with regard to the amount of water coming out of that and backing into fields. These are two regulated drains. And then to the east, we have two more regulated drains, but south, unregulated. So the process was, we want to be able to do something about this unregulated area because there's a lot of dams, log jams, beavers, washouts. It's just kind of a mess down in there. And that's the actual Youngs Creek as it comes along 144 there. The first step in this process is we want to stop this at the Brewer. This is Brewer. In fact, right in here is the section of the high school that we were talking about. But Brewer regulated drain stops right in the middle of a cornfield, 11,000 feet shy of its outlet. So our first thing is we're going to do a study of this, see what kind of condition it's in, and it's rough, and put together a similar packet as we did with our reassessments. And then what we're going to do is start the process to bring that into the Brewer. It doesn't make any sense to do all this work up here and not have control of your outlet. So just a heads up, that's our first step in this whole process. And that's coming. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Kingsbridge. If you remember, we had that discussion with the city of Franklin on a new trail that was 10 foot off the top of bank.
Yeah.
We met with them, but we haven't heard anything. It's been deadly quiet. So we're going to stir the pot this month. I did want some direction, probably from Roger, since that is an encroachment. And I assume somewhere down the road, the developer or the city will give that to the homeowners association. Should we do something, have something in place so that they know down the road that is going to get two-staged? There's going to be improvements and that trail's got to go. Do we do a deed restriction on an encroachment for that?
Yeah, or something on the plat. Has the plat been recorded yet?
Plat has been recorded.
Well, you may have to, they should probably amend I'm assuming the plat shows the encroachment.
It does not.
It doesn't show the drain, the existence. of
It,
the
it shows
easement?
the drain, but the trail was put in after the plat was recorded.
Okay, well, they need to amend the plat, for starters.
It wasn't a real good meeting.
Uh, my legally, exactly what needs to be done kind of depends on what is attempted to be done.
$200,000.
So I really am not in a position to be specific,
Okay.
but generally speaking, and this is just common sense, better to do it now than later. You know, the longer that sits there, the more people are going to think that trail's okay. They may actually build things up to it. They may not even, if it's not on the plat, they may not even realize it's
It was originally intended that the city would take that as a park.
yeah, but didn't they back out of that?
They backed out once we showed up.
My advice, I guess, is to continue to put pressure on the developer. And, you know, it can go so far as a demand letter from the board by me saying, move that out of our easement or else. You know, and the or else is not going to be pleasant for
I don't have a problem with it there now, but at some point it's going to be in the way. And at some point, then that homeowners association, they'll be responsible
them. Well,
for it.
I would say that if at some point it's going to be a problem, you have a problem right now. Because if the only thing between not a problem and a problem is simply the passage of time, then you know it's going to be a problem. You know,
Okay.
so that's kind of the way I look at these things. If I know it's going to be a problem now, sometime in the future, but I'm sure it's going to be a problem in the future, I want to fix it now if I can. It strikes me that it's going to be easier to fix when it's in the hands of a developer that maybe has the money to do it than when it gets turned over to an HOA that probably A has no money and B has very little ability to raise money. Okay. So that's what I think. Now, I recall the conversation and they're going to argue that they somehow or other got permission.
Mhm.
Remember that?
Oh,
thing?
we sat with them in the meeting. Yeah.
My opinion is they don't. My opinion is their arguments are not going to be successful. Okay.
We tried to tell them that, but they didn't really.
Because the drainage board, to my knowledge, never specifically approved that encroachment.
Mhm.
So that's a full stop. So I don't know, I don't know if that's
Crosswire
much
guard,
guidance,
city
Greg, or
city
good
guard.
guidance. What legally is done depends on when it's done and who owns it and what needs to be done.
I'll reach back out to them and get the conversation going again.
Do you feel like at this point, you've reached impasse with them in terms of negotiating a solution? They
No,
were pretty adamant when they came in here, we aren't gonna do it.
they were,
There's not a trail and talk about the.
but I think we need to give them the opportunity to say they're not going to do anything.
Okay, well, I think they already have, but
Well, we talked about some alternatives in that meeting, maybe going to a one-side stage ditch instead of a two, moving one stage over to the other side, trying to work with them.
do they have the land that they can give us to do that? I thought.
The
it was
city,
100%
I
of their
think,
ownership.
had the
I
land.
don't think they do.
They don't
Yes,
have
I
the
think-
land on the other side.
No,
That's my memory of the problem with that is
Okay,
we got to go get that from somebody and that costs money.
yeah. They gotta weigh their options, what's gonna cost less, the money or redoing the trail.
They don't have the ability to acquire land from the adjoining land. We do.
Yeah,
But their options are to go to the mat, spend a lot of money and ultimately lose and have to do it. Or just do it and not go to the mat and not spend that extra money.
they weren't looking like they were wanting to spend the money,
no,
impression I got.
We've got a stop work order out there, don't you?
we did. And then we worked with them. They had two outlets
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that they did not have in the right spot. So we did go on site with them and they got those put where they needed to be and they look good. They did good on the outlet.
And that was in return for lifting the stop work order.
Yes,
Well, maybe if the stop work order goes back on, that will encourage them to move that path. If that's, sounds like that's what it took to get the outlets moved. Anything short of that, it's just, whatever. You know,
We'll have a meeting before we put a stop work order out there. I would recommend that.
absolutely.
I don't want to just slap them in the face with a stop work order with no pre-warning.
Oh, I agree, but it seems like that's about the only thing that got their attention.
I got the city's attention, and that's whose attention we need right now. So I'll talk to the city. So I'll deal with them before we slam them in the face with the stop work order.
Yeah.
So
I'll reach out to them again. Next thing, and I'm gonna sneak this one in as 9A.
oh, geez, now there's 11 items. It's not, just say,
Just wanted to let you know that the surveyor's office is we're sponsoring a training. And I think we have how many participants? We have 22 already signed up for it. We did this 3 years ago. And what it is, the Purdue LTAP actually puts on the training. And we just kind of sponsor it for them. And we open it up to the different municipalities. The training this time, and it's April 14th. They'll be trained in philosophy of drainage, culture of safety, drainage check on equipment, ditches and berms, pipe replacement, and ditch maintenance. So it's a 3-hour training program. It is accredited. So those of you that have a license and need your extra credits, it's available.
It's 3 hours but you're not presenting.
No, it's Purdue LTAP.
Are you giving an intro, which would extend it to 4 hours? I don't resist.
I never thought of that. I don't know if I'm accredited.
Fact.
So just a heads up, just let you know that's going. And
Is it here?
it's going to be out at the I've donated the banquet room at the shrine.
Okay.
So it's local.
you better get him to say it that way, or he won't feed you.
And I'm gonna end on something positive. Daily Journal, you guys have, if you haven't read the Daily Journal article, I have a copy of it on a log jam. This also started about 3 years ago with a phone call of a gal that was, she just didn't know what to do. It was a mess. And so many times the phone calls hit us and there's just nothing we can do. We either don't have the authority or we don't have the money. And this time we went out, looked at it with her and dug around and we found a grant. Since then, the property's transferred and we're working with 2 individuals. But the neat thing about grants is that many times you can stack them. So state and federal grants will work together. And so we actually have a couple of them on that same property. But it was a good article and I'd like to thank my staff because they're the ones that have kind of driven this for the last 2 or 3 years. Andy, Beth, Brandon, and Joe. And that's my positive I'm going to end on.
Thank you, Greg.
Any questions on any of this?
When are they gonna remove the log jam?
They are waiting on the homeowners. They have that 20%. So as soon as they kick that in, we've got a contractor lined up. The county surveyor's office, we're basically managing it. So we'll be inspecting, when they turn in invoices, we'll make sure that the work's done and then turn that over to the state, yada, yada. So we're just kind of the construction manager on the project.
I haven't read the article. How are you removing the log jam?
Mechanically,
mechanically.
no dynamite. Sorry.
I want to be around for the dynamite.
Okay.
That's it.
Can we have the meeting now? Should we open the meeting now?
Next item is DR 25-018-3629 Sagebriar by Del Webb, section 7.
Is anybody here for that? Nope. For the record, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor, DR 25-018-3629 Sagebriar. This is section 7. This is a subdivision that we reviewed in June of 2023. And with section 1 and 2, they did the ponds and did the outlet. And then we've been following them in the different stages to make sure that they're following the plan. And the project has been reviewed by our outside engineer, and it conforms to the overall plan approved at the June 23rd meeting. And surveyor recommends approval. This is on the grub is the ultimate outlet on that.
Doesn't look like it's so large.
No, I don't have any questions.
No, I don't.
Does anybody have any questions? No.
I'll move for approval.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is DR 26-033-3630 pedestrian bridge crossing, Summerfield Park.
Mr. Chairman, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor, could we take DR 26-033-3630 and 3632 as one? They're both the city of Greenwood pedestrian bridges.
Okay,
And I'll step back and let the engineer talk about it, and then I'll come back.
okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Keith Cruz, Landworks Engineering. First slide is the first slide is Summerfield Park. A little background on the project. Greenwood Parks Department currently owns both sides of Tracy Ditch. And their maintenance vehicles, especially their large zero-turn mowers, are too wide to use the current bridge that is over Tracy Ditch, and they need to go through the subdivision that's to the west, through the yards in order to maintain the west side of the park on the west side of Tracy Ditch. So they reached out to us to redesign the crossing there. We're utilizing two 9-inch diameter pipes that were previously the temporary construction entrance at Greenwood Sports Park while that was in construction. We have them side by side and with concrete head walls on both the north and the south side, just north of the two-stage ditch. This will allow for a pickup truck size vehicle to drive over that safely to maintain both sides of the park. We have gone through DNR approval, which we received a couple months ago. This is along Worthsville Road also.
I thought you were gonna do both of them. There's another one.
Yeah, there is. Are you waiting for us to ask questions about this before you go to the second?
Oh, I'm happy to go to the second one if you don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions. It's pretty simple, really.
I do not. Anybody else on the board? Anybody in the audience? If you could, ma'am, if you could step to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Hi, thank you for your time. My name is Susanna Almanza. My address is 1 828 Winterwood Drive. I'm a homeowner in the Summerfield Village subdivision. 23 years living there, raised family. Became aware of this meeting, and I just wanted to ask, so the main gist of this modification has to do with vehicular movement?
Parks and maintenance.
Parks only? Okay, okay. Will it still be considered still pedestrian friendly, park friendly, still add to the environment of the park? Is it gonna be usable for pedestrians, bikes, strollers, families?
Yes. I would say even more so. It's a little bit wider, so now you can have pedestrians and bikes, process.
Okay. The description was a little unclear. It sounded more of the ilk of kind of less beautification as opposed to more. So I wanted to know a little bit more about the modification and what it was going to look like, because the park is definitely something mutually used by both communities. It's a very attractive area, and I wanted to learn more about it. So that was my question. So interested to hear more. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready to move on.
Greenwood Sports Park, currently the bridge that crosses the regulated drain there along Great Crow Way does not have a sidewalk or a pedestrian aisle. It was originally designed to allow fire truck access to the concession stands and the middle of the northern diamond. The two bridges that currently cross that were approved by Johnson County Drainage Board in December of 2021. The new pedestrian bridge is by the same design. It has winged head walls and an open span on the bottom, precast concrete, utilizing the modeling calculations from the previous approval. We are not restricting the flow through the ditch at all and staying above the minimum flood height of the ditch there. The purpose of this, Greenwood Parks would like to extend their trail network eventually to this park, and then also the school and the church have trails that extend south down along this drive, so that pedestrian access would be separated from vehicular access along those bridges to the sports park, just increasing pedestrian friendliness.
Okay, does the board have any questions? I assume nobody else has any comments or questions on this one? Okay.
Thank you.
I wore them out for you. For the record, again, Greg Cantwell, Johnson County Surveyor. Both bridges have been reviewed by our outside engineer with a recommendation for approval. Surveyor recommends approval of both 3630 and 3632 with a waiver of both application fees, since it is municipal, City of Greenwood, and a requirement for a 48-hour notice prior to beginning of work.
Good with you? Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve both 3630 and 3632.
Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
And I would clarify that that does meet no fees for this, for the city of Greenwood,
Application fee.
application fees.
Okay, last item on the agenda is DR 26-000-3633 Nineveh Fire Station.
Good evening. I am Alex McDaniel with HWC Engineering, and we are working with the Nineveh Fire Department on developing a new fire station for the community of Nineveh. The project is located on the south side of Nineveh along South Nineveh Road and just south of the Williamsburg Estate subdivision. It is currently just over a 6-acre undeveloped lot, and we are proposing the development of a 10,000 square foot fire station with access drives, utility infrastructure, stormwater infrastructure, and a dry detention pond. The dry detention pond has been designed to take on all of the proposed stormwater runoff from our development, as well as the approximate 10 acres of offsite flow from the commercial developments to the east and the portions of the residential neighborhood to the north. The dry pond was designed and meets all Johnson County requirements for staging and allowable release rates. But we are requesting a waiver for the bottom slope of the pond and for the cover of the under drain for the pond as well.
For the record, Richard Hoover, Johnson County Planning Engineer. We have reviewed the plans and we've reviewed the plans and the drainage report for this project. Everything has been designed in accordance with the technical standards. All the storm sewers, all the structures are in accordance with the technical standards as well. They've requested 2 waivers, as Alex pointed out. One is for the bottom slope of the dry detention facility. The technical standards require a minimum 1% slope longitudinally and laterally through the bottom. They are asking for a 0.5% slope. They are also asking for reduction in the cover. Technical standards require 1.5 foot. They're asking to be allowed to have 1 foot of cover over top of the under drains. Staff has reviewed the elevations that they are using for this. We recommend approval of those waivers. The overall project, we recommend approval for as well, with two conditions. The first is the recorded copy of executed operations and maintenance manual be provided to planning and zoning. And the second one is recorded copies of the proposed drainage easements for the stormwater facilities also be provided to planning and zoning as well.
Does anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? Okay, ma'am, please state your name and address.
Vicky Fisher, 7818 George Washington Boulevard. My question is not about this part, but will George Washington Boulevard remain a dead-end street? Or will it become a thoroughfare from Nineveh to?
No, it'll remain dead end
Thank
street. Yep, you're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. Does the board have any?
No, I don't believe so. Not asking just the 2 waivers, so I would make a motion to approve with the 2 waivers they've asked for and the 2 conditions that we've asked for the planning and zoning recorded copy, executed operations and maintenance manual, and drainage easements for the stormwater facilities. So you good with that? All right, then I make a motion to approve with those conditions.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Thank you.
That concludes tonight's meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May the 7th at 6 here. So we can can we get a motion to adjourn?
Get us out of there. Say we're adjourned. We're adjourned.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Nobody,
Thank you, everybody.
nobody object.
No.
Sure.